Nigeria. I wouldn't want to mention the name of the airline. And then it was to South Africa. And we landed in South Africa. And let me just paraphrase it. When I was coming back, I had some money. I didn't know that my luggage already arrived, and it was one of the luggage that was moving around on the carousel. So after about 1 hour wait, I looked to my left and my right. Almost everybody had gone. I think there were just about 2 or 3 left. So I beckoned on the woman that was on my side, and I noticed she was really in tears. Madam, what happened? She said, her bag has just been torn and a lot of things stolen. So I said, well, I've also been waiting for my own. She said, you better go and check those, those luggages there. Maybe yours is one of them. And lo and behold, I went around there. Mine was one of them. By the time I got it, everything inside my luggage was gone. All the valuable things there were gone. To cut the long story short, we felt there was need for us to report the case, at least to the airline. It was in the night, about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. We went in to go and see the officer that was in charge. As soon as we got in there, the officer said, "Oh, so sorry, but you will have to go to our head office in somewhere in Victoria Island, to lodge a complaint." Okay. So the next day we went to the Victoria Island and we lodged a complaint, and that was it. And since that day, I'm talking a story of over 10 years ago, I didn't get a call, not even a call from that airline to talk to me about what happened to my luggage. Now, about a month after that trip, I had another opportunity to travel out of the country. This time around it was to US, and it was an official assignment. And I flew on, I will mention the airline this time around. I flew on a BA. I really didn't like BA. I usually go with Virgin Atlantic and things like that. But my protocol officer convinced me and said, "Okay, you will love BA. Why don't you go on BA?" Anyway, so I went on BA to US. And of course, when I returned from US to Nigeria, we had to do, of course, there'll be like a connecting flight, from Heathrow. So we got into London Heathrow, and then because it was through Heathrow that we went, and then so they changed since it was BA, they changed the aircraft this time around to a bigger one. I mean, clearly because there were more Nigerians, or more people that were planning to come to Nigeria, and then we boarded. Not quite 10 minutes into the flight, in the air, the aircraft started malfunctioning. The air conditioning compartment were not functioning very well. I was on what you call business economy. The whole of that business economy, all the way to economy side, the ACs were not working well. It was hot. And then I was watching. And then from that moment till we got to Nigeria. From that moment till we got to, I'm just trying to paraphrase. From that moment till we got to Nigeria, I could remember very well how many times the pilot, broke into conversation and had to apologize and say, "We're really very sorry about this." He was giving us almost every 30 minutes. There's always a kind of update. "So sorry, this is what we're doing now, this is what we're doing." While we were on that journey, I also remember an incident. So they came, the crew apparently couldn't resolve they couldn't manage the crisis or what was going on about it. They couldn't fix it. So they came up and said, "We're so sorry, but for all the inconvenience, we're declaring, free lunch, free whatever it is you want, you can get." So trust Nigerians, you need to hear how everybody was jubilating, But something struck me. The experience I had just about a month before, and this experience somehow I started comparing them. I was trying to see how this matter will be managed. Again, to cut the story short, we landed in Nigeria on a BA. Before we landed, the pilot announced and said that for the inconvenient, they will be giving a voucher of £50 to everyone that flew on that aircraft. I thought it was a joke. I mean, it was my first time with BA, but for what I knew or know of the British man, a British man would never even play with his 1 penny, talking of £1. So I felt that must be a joke of the year. So we left. I got back to my office. I think it was just about a week after. My officer, our guys in our mail room came up and said, "Oh, you have a parcel." So I said, "Parcel? Yeah." So they bought this parcel, wrapped. I opened it, and boom, I bought the document out. It was the £50 voucher from BA. So what was the tenor of this story? An experience with one airline was terrible, no apology. An experience with another one, even though it was a bad experience, but it was very well managed. So managed that even if we have suffered anything in that aircraft, you probably, for the sake of how they manage it, will have forgiven them. So that was how this journey started. So I started thinking, my mind, this is what we go through in this country. But are we different from other nations? So God put in my heart the idea of ConsumerHalla. That's why the Hala came with consumer. And we started that journey about 10 years ago. We started by creating a platform called ConsumerHalla, where consumers, so I discovered that Nigerian consumers don't have a voice. So things happen, and that's it. We live with everything. So we've started the journey from creating the platform. We have an app, we even have a magazine, and we thought we could move it from that to the next stage, which is the television. So the TV today, has come. So I would say precept by precept, line upon line, we have been able to build on our aspiration, to finally bring to birth this unique and exciting complaint resolution portal. We created it so that Nigerians can actually lodge complaint on that portal. We spent a lot of resources to build a very robust platform where today, if you have any complaint, about any brand, any leading brands in Nigeria, and you go on that platform, you can actually click, just a click, you can find the brand, you can actually lodge your complaint, and once you submit,
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Midday News this hour. We start the news this afternoon with agricultural matters as rice farmers under the edges of the Old Farmers Association of Nigeria have blamed the continuous hike in the price of the product in Nigeria on the activities of unethical farmers and middlemen who have formed a cartel in the sector. The association made this known in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria in Lagos State yesterday. Speaking on the issue, AFAN Vice Chairman Mr. Shaki Agbaye said the consistent fluctuations in the price of rice will be linked to human manipulations in spite of the government efforts. Although he said the federal government empowered a few farmers with a 75% reduction on the cost of production, and others were given fertilizers for free. According to him, he further said while the waiver was in effect, they imported rice into the country and the price decreased. However, during this period, they were also warehousing the rice. And now that importation waiver is over, the cartel is creating artificial scarcity and selling at a very high price. We move away from agricultural matters now. Let's move to the foreign scene, where the United States, US, has announced that all visa applicants will be required to disclose all social media handles used over the past 5 years as part of the visa application process. The directive was highlighted in a notice by the US mission in Nigeria, applying applicants to filling out the DS-160 form. The standard application for non-immigrant visas. Applicants are now required to provide usernames or handles for every social media platform they have used during that period. The measure reflects a global shift towards increased scrutiny of digital footprint as government weigh online activity in security and immigration decisions. Meanwhile, the requirement was first introduced in 2019 under the Trump administration as part of a broader tightening of the U.S. visa vetting procedure, and it has remained in force under the Biden administration. Officials argued natural gas CNG trucks would not start on Friday as planned due to logistic challenges in China. A news report says the $20 billion Lekki-based refinery had earlier announced plans to kick off the direct fuel distribution exercise with the 4,000 compressed natural gas powered trucks. The trucks were ordered from China to be delivered in Lagos State for Dangote's direct fuel distribution. However, the plan could not materialize because the company was only able to receive 450 trucks. It was also learned that 150 others would be delivered next week, making a total of 600 trucks. The report further stated that the senior executive of the Dangote Group, who did not want to be named, confirmed this development to transport the trucks to Nigeria from China. The source who spoke on anonymity gave further insight, saying the Dangote Group received 200 trucks in the first shipment and 250 in the second batch, while another 150 will be received next week. He stated, and I quote read, 200 arrived in the first ship, another 250 have been offloaded now. We are expecting 150 on the vessel next week. That's beautiful. We are hoping about that too as well. Now this means Nigeria has now been ranked as number 8 on the African Industrialization Index, and public buildings must be transactions with the going live of the new national e-invoice institution. However, transaction monitoring has become easy, and this piece of advice was given to a gathering of large taxpayers in Lagos State at the just concluded 2-day post-launch workshop. The National E-Invoicing Solution Merchant Buyer Model is a digital representation of transactions between suppliers and buyers, effectively replacing traditional paper or electronic documents such as invoices, credit note and debit note. This e-invoice includes all essential transactions, detailed like supplier and buyer information, item descriptions, quantities, prices, tax, and total amounts, which are designed to facilitate real-time or near real-time validation and storage of transactions. In regard to this news, the Acting Director of Tax Automation at FIRS, Mike Adoga, while speaking at the workshop said, and I quote read, FIRS is in the middle of providing, governance and ensuring that every invoice gets a reference number, which is also part of this initiative, because what we do at the Tax Automation Department of FIRS is we provide all the digital tools that would make the process of tax administration seamless. Back to the news body, Mr. Harry Manuel Eze, who represented the Chief of Staff to the FIRS Executive Chairman, Tayo Kolusho, said the workshop was designed to provide a practical guidance on taxpayer enablement, integration processes, and return invoice transformation, as well as transmission. Let's cross over now to bank matters. The United Bank for Africa UBA PLC secured a 5 billion naira loan facility from the Bank of Industry to boost key sectors of the economy and support the growth of sustainable and viable businesses in the country, especially the micro, small and medium enterprises, MSMEs, owned by women. The facility disbursed through the federal government MSMEs fund is designed to stimulate key sectors of the economy while offering affordable financing to support businesses with a primary focus on green energy, education, healthcare, and women-owned enterprises. Pressing further on the news, UBA's Group Managing Director and CEO Olivier Lawuba, who spoke about the facility, emphasized the bank's commitment to fostering economic growth by empowering MSMEs, which he described as the lifeline of any developing economy. Still talking about the 3-month moratorium on principal repayment, ensuring businesses having ample time to stabilize before they begin to service the loans. We are not yet away from bank matters. First City Monument Bank and the Dutch Entrepreneurial Development Bank have announced the launch of the SCNP FMO Agritech Investment Readiness Program 2025. This initiative aim is to identify, support, and finance Nigeria's most promising agritech startup and small to medium-sized enterprises. According to a statement by the bank, the program, which is in collaboration with eVentures, is designed to enhance access to capital while fostering the ability of innovative agritech business. According to a statement from the partners, the statement said it features a competitive grant prize pool of 20 million naira awarded to ventures recognized as best positioned for investment. And it will also include digital learning and fundability scoring through a Zemara property platform that leverages alternative data and established readiness benchmark to identify bankable ventures. Applications for the program are now open and will remain accessible from August 8 to September 12, 2025, following the application period. And the top 20 startup will participate in an intensive 6-week investment readiness program, culminating in a pitch presentation to panel of esteemed funders in October 2025. And now we've come to the conclusion of the news, the midday news on ConsumerHallaTV. Thank you for listening to the news. I am Ire Ayomikunle Eke. Join me by the hour of 2 for more news updates. Bye for now.
Hey there, do you know in the world today, everyone is a consumer, and as consumers, we all have the right to be heard.
In Nigeria today, as a consumer, you have all right to product information, right to fair pricing, right to return goods, right to product labeling, right to fair dealings, and a lot more.
Well then, have you heard about the new media channel?
ConsumerHallaTV.